Stay tuned for Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas, a leading financial retirement strategist and the founder of Soutas Financial and Insurance Solutions, right here in Fresno. Every week, Dale discusses pressing financial topics of the week, ranging from reliable income strategies to our financial markets, including Social Security, tax strategies, wealth management, RMDs, legacy planning, long-term care solutions, and most importantly, how to make sure you have enough guaranteed lifetime income to retire your way with choice and dignity. From taxes to trends to total transparency, Dale covers it all. And now, here is Retire Your Way and Dale Soutas. This is Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. Hey, Dale, it is great to see you and talk to you. How are you doing this week, my friend?
I'm doing fine. Can you throw those away?
You like,
quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
You like the sound effects, Dale?
Yeah, you have too many buttons over there.
I do have some toys.
Breaking news.
Oh, there actually or noise. There actually is some breaking news this week about interest rates, a lowering of interest rates. So I want to ask you about that later in today's program. And what does that mean for our listeners all across the state of California? But what I really enjoy, and I think what our listeners enjoy, is how you help people. We like to go into individual stories for our listeners out there. We do not give away who Dale is talking about. We never, ever, ever do that. But sometimes we can talk about a story or a situation that might help you think about your own personal situation and different things that you have covered in your financial retirement lifestyle and that you haven't had covered. What about... let's even start with nervousness. People who are just uneasy about getting started.
Exactly. There's some that come in and they're very nervous about retiring. I mean, some I've had that were extremely nervous about what they're going to do. They're already retired, but they want to move away. I mean, many times people are saying sometimes they want to move out of the state, but some are just wanting to move out of the valley, better air, maybe towards the coast or other places. So, I'm thinking of ones where very nervous about the plan even, because they've got decent amount of money saved up, and I'm showing them how, yes, you still can move away and your money will last. Their home, selling it here, would even pay for pretty much half of their move to, even if they bought a house at the coast. So, and on top of that, they've got, a lot. How do you put that amount?
Okay, are we talking $1 million or $2 or $3, something like that? And so we're talking
actually
about a couple.
More.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple, and they actually have a bit more than that.
Do you have just give me a roundabout age, just for our listeners out there.
60s.
Okay. All right.
Mid 60s, mid to later 60s. Yeah.
So they can sell the house. They've got a few million in savings. What are they nervous about? What are they concerned about?
Just, will the money last? It's going to cost more to be out there. Taxes will be more. And unfortunately, sometimes, in fact, there's some issues with health for the husband, so he may need care sooner than later.
Oh, okay.
And so how do we pay for that? What's interesting, they have lifetime long-term care insurance for him. But again, I look at, what's the cost going to be to keep him at home? And even though that pays for that, it wouldn't necessarily pay what they really need to keep him at home. So I build in extra money for the care down the road, even at an earlier age than what I normally put in a plan. But it's been interesting, and we've had many. When I say many, several visits, sitting down, reviewing things, and going over, just, taking our time. I'm not going to push them. And, finally, I put together a written plan so she can study it. They can study it and look at it and see, where do we take the money from? How do we pay the bills? How do we do this and that? And, again, pushing their plan to her age 100, they would end up with, double the amount of assets they are starting with. I mean,
wait a minute. How do you end up with double? How do you end up with more assets?
Oh, I know, because what they think they need they think they're going to run out of money, but they're not. I even inflated their goals tremendously. I mean, let's say the property costs whatever, and I added a lot more to it. At least 50% more. What if it takes that plus to make the move? What they need to pay month-to-month bills, I inflated that. What they need to goof off, I doubled that. Care, I threw in care at an earlier age so we could keep him home, and I have that care check, that a dollar amount going to her age 100, and they still are not going to run out of money. And I'm showing how to in the plan, I'm going to show them how to set some money up to provide some additional income at the age when he would have to normally take minimum distributions at 73. This little chunk of money is going to create probably 80 to 90,000 a year guaranteed income for them for the rest of their lives. And then I'm also showing them how to minimize the roller coaster, as I call it, or lower the volatility on the market. Just, still have some money on the market, still, get some gains, but we need to smooth out the ride so the money will last. And even if they only averaged, let's say 5 or 6%, their money, the amount they have, and for what they need and want to spend, their money's going to grow. And
so how did you talk about this from theoretical and this is what the growth should be? What did you give them or hand to them or show them to give them confidence?
Well, to even build up, I had to find out what they're nervous about. What's the concerns? I needed to find out, well, what do you really need to pay the bills now? And even though a house, let's say at the coast, the taxes, property taxes will be higher and such. We build all that up. So we first get the homework done, and they give me some info so I can start calculating based on what they expect things to be over there. And we build from there. But what we did, I showed them that number one, you have a paycheck to pay the bills. And even though it came in, let's say, I can't remember exactly, but instead of $6,000 a month, we put it at $8,000 a month. We buffered that, need just to cover, just in case things do cost more. And then I, to goof off and play, instead of an extra $1,000 a month, said, let's give you $2,000 a month. And through his age, when we, earlier age of needing care, and then we gave an extra, what did I put, $10,000 a month for care in their plan.
Oh, wow.
So I showed these, this is what you need money-wise. You've shown me what you have in your various accounts. Here's how you structure them. Some of the accounts we have to be careful with because they're tax deferred, like a 401k. So we want to move those carefully into an IRA, position those. What if you're only averaging, this amount, lowering the volatility, because that's a concern, because especially earlier this year, the nervousness was, is the money going to last? Because, stock market was jumping up and down, mostly down at the beginning. But anyway, I showed him that on the screen. Then I went ahead and printed out a written plan, which details out the different aspects of it. And she's finally, breathing better. I tease her, and I tease some, when they're sitting there and they're nervous. I said, no, you got to knock it off. You're making my coffee nervous. But we have fun. And, and again, I'm not going to push. If it makes sense to them, fine. I will take them by the hand and walk them through it. But it's a journey together. Once they get things set up, once they start making the move, we're going to be right there, basically holding her hand, making sure she's not overly
It's not just, hey, here's your plan, good luck with it.
Right. And it's like, like I tell her, you got enough on your plate. I don't want you worrying about your money in retirement. I don't want anyone worried about their money in retirement. That's not a way to live in retirement. If you have a solid income plan, you could pay the bills, you could play, and you even can cover care down the road, and your money can last to age 100 at least, okay, because people do live longer. what's your focus? You're focusing on more important things, the family, the fun things you like doing, travel, whatever it is you want to be doing in retirement. So that's, I just don't want people worrying about the money. I mean, that's just, we've all been there, do we have enough to pay the bills? That's no way to be retired. So
yeah, and it's a different way to also think about it. It's not just, hey, this is the lump sum of money that we have and we've saved, and no matter how large or small it is, and then dividing it out by how many years and how much you're going to spend per month. It's that you can actually have growth in some of the money. And what you were talking about here is that their money actually grew, even withdrawing and living their lifestyle towards the end of their lives. I mean, you've got to have a plan, folks. If you don't have a written financial plan, if you've been nervous about this, cautious, if you've been skeptical, I always like the skeptics because I can be a skeptic on certain things. If you want to see the reality of how long you can make your money last in retirement through proper planning, I'll tell you what, I challenge you right now. Call the phone number. Set up your own appointment. Sit down with Dale and his team. You can do it over the phone, we could do it over Zoom, or you can come right into the offices. And it's no cost to you. Let us help you with that income plan in retirement. 833-856-1382 is the phone number for you to call. We have folks who are standing by right now. You're not going to interrupt the show. It's going to go to the call center, and we'll schedule an appointment for a time that works for you during the week. More with Dale Soutas and Retire Your Way when we get back right after this.
Stock market losses have you worried? Claim your free portfolio risk report and protection review from financial advisor Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial right now. Call 833-856-1382. If the recent market volatility has you worried about your retirement investments, you're not alone. Right now is the time to take action to protect your investments. Surely markets do not always rise, but if you're in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, you don't have the same time to make up for portfolio losses as you did in your 30s and 40s. Claim your portfolio risk review from Soutas Financial today. Call 833-856-1382 or go to Soutas.com. Your portfolio risk review will provide action steps of what you could do to protect your wealth from current market swings. Get your free portfolio risk review right now. Call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382 or Soutas.com. That's SOUTAS.com.
As a valued radio listener of Retire Your Way, Dale Soutas and the entire team of retirement professionals at Soutas Financial invite you to schedule your very own complimentary retirement planning session. If you don't have a retirement strategy mapped out that includes low-fee investment elections, tax minimization strategies, decumulation plans from your savings that will last as long as you need them to, then call for your own retirement planning session, complimentary for our valued radio listeners. 833-856-1382. Are you able to lower your taxes in retirement? Are you unclear about your Social Security, Medicare, investment fees, and risks, or how to produce ongoing income that lasts your entire retirement? Then call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial to schedule your own comprehensive retirement planning session. No cost to our valued radio listeners. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
To get your complimentary Retire Your Way review, call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. If you'd like to learn more about the team and even schedule an appointment on your own, if you don't like dialing phone numbers, go to the website. Check it out yourself, Soutas.com, Soutas.com. You can write Dale a question too if you want to, Dale at Soutas.com. That's Dale and the at symbol, Soutas.com. Dale, I had something that came by our desks recently, and so it was a gentleman. He was talking about what he was going to be leaving the kids. It was started the estate planning conversation. I would say young, sprightly enough. I would say, a healthy young 60s, but already knowing that, the kids are separate, they're different. And he was thinking about, he's like, well, I've got a house that one of them lives in right now, and we helped him with the down payment, and I figure I'll probably leave them with the house. Eventually, it's going to be all paid off pretty soon. And the other one, he had something like $300,000 in an IRA, and he said, I'll probably leave this then for the other child. Are these two equal pieces to be leaving to the children? Is this something that he should decide like this, or should he maybe talk to the kids and bring them into the conversation? Or is it a good idea that he's taking care of this on his own?
Well, I see a lot of that where people think I'm going to, leave things to maybe my oldest child and they'll divvy it out to the other siblings.
That's a whole nother one. Yeah.
That's kind of along the same line. And so in this particular case, you think about it, the house, let's say that this example, I'm assuming that just has two kids. The father has two kids, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And the one son, they helped, they gave him a down payment and he's in this house, but it's still owned by the father. And when he dies, he has it set up to go to his son, let's say. And then he has this other account, an IRA, like you said, I think you said about $350.
Yeah.
And that's going to go to the other child. Well, it might sound, equal, but think about it. Let's say the son who inherits a home realizes after he actually inherits it and it's his, he could actually turn around and sell it without having any capital gains, and that money's tax-free for him to use, maybe for another home or whatever he wants. The son who inherits the IRA, or the former 401k or whatever it was that was tax deferred, he inherits a tax bomb. So he, if he tried to close that account all at once, that $350,000 is going to be on top of all his other income, and he's going to, Uncle Sam's going to thank him more than probably anybody else. So, they're not necessarily equal, and so we do have situations where people have a variety of assets, properties, accounts, taxable, tax deferred, different things, and they have multiple children and they want to leave, so much to this one, so much to that one, or maybe one has already gotten their inheritance. Or let's throw another twist. What if one of your children have special needs and is on a government program, and to inherit a chunk of money, they would get kicked off of that program? And the biggest benefit of those government programs is covering their medical, which can be extremely expensive. So we don't want to lose those benefits. So how do we deal with that? And those are many things that we see and coach people, regularly with. And we regularly coach them with their attorneys, and if they don't have one, we have attorneys to refer to that know how to set up a special needs provision in your trust, but how to divide things out properly. And we're not even talking about the ones who are, second marriage. They have kids, he has kids, she has kids, and they have different assets. Some are, so it can get complicated. But to keep it simple, what are the different types of investments that you have, different types of things that might be passing on to your beneficiaries? Property, cash in the bank, investments, stocks and bonds in a brokerage account, things that are not tax deferred are treated differently than your IRAs, 403Bs, TSPs, all of that. So you have to understand how they work and the effect. If your children, I've seen, how about this for a good example?
Okay.
Let's say mom and dad have 5 children.
Okay.
And they have this $500,000, $500,000 IRA. Okay. And they say, well, I'm going to have that go to my oldest child because he or she will divide it out to the other siblings, because we trust them. Okay, great. Now think about it. That child gets this money. A lot of times they don't even understand tax deferred versus taxable, non-taxable, whatever. They don't get it. So you die, and the $500,000 goes to your son or daughter, and they lovingly pass out $100,000 to each of their siblings, and they close that balance of the $100,000, put it into their bank account. Next year, what do they get? They get a tax bill. They get a 1099, number one, on $500,000 of income that they have to show Uncle Sam. That income
because they received all of it?
Because they took it all out, and it was only in their name. Even though they shared it with their siblings, the one child has to pay the tax on it. The ones they gave it to don't, because he took it out and shared it with them. So that $500,000 in this example is going to be on top of he and his, he or she's income, the child that inherited that $500,000. So there's problems we can create, bigger problems for our families. Plus, what if they don't want to give it? Hey, mom and dad left it to me. Money can change.
You've never contributed to Thanksgiving dinner. You're not getting as much. Yeah, you've got to be careful who you're giving it to.
Yeah, you didn't visit them, and they were not doing too well, and you never came to visit them. So
I'm the one who took care of them as they got older. I deserve a bigger chunk of this.
It would be all kinds of crazy stuff. But the bottom line is, people are employed in various ways. Even if you've been, say, a wife and raised the kids, you did the hard work. Husband was out, making money is all right. But point being is, what's your specialty? Is it understanding the different types of money and how these things can be taxable or not to your beneficiaries? How do you set up things to go? Let's say you do want them to go evenly between the 5 kids. Well, you want to name beneficiaries. If we go back to that $500,000 tax-deferred account, whether IRA, 401k, or whatever, you could name all 5 kids. And what if some of your children really don't need it? Now, they'll have up to 10 years to take their share, that $100,000 out, and spread it out over, multiple tax years, hopefully lowering the taxes. But what if one of them doesn't really need it and would really like to help their own children, your grandchildren? Well, by naming grandchildren as contingents, even at just say 1%, that opens the door for that child to pass that money down to their children without having to pay taxes on it first. It's what's called technically a disclaiming provision in the IRS code. So they can pass that down. Your son or daughter doesn't have to pay tax on it. It goes to the grandchildren. They use it for college or whatever, or because they're making a lot less money. At that stage, their income and tax rates are much lower. It's a good tax planning strategy. So there's more to this. And, I have a trust. Okay, they say, mom and dad say, I've got this trust. Great, that's good for your real estate. And you could put your checking, savings, CDs, and brokerage accounts in that. But that $500,000 tax bomb or that tax-deferred account, same thing. You don't name the trust as the beneficiary, even though the trust says it's going to go to all my kids or whatever. By doing that, when you have a tax-deferred account going to your trust, they don't know how to deal with it properly. It's going to be taxed at currently 37% or whatever the marginal rate is down the road, which likely won't stay as low as 37. So there's just more to how to set up things for your beneficiaries than we can say in an hour. But that's part of what we look at with families, coaching them. It doesn't cost them a dime to know here's, the best way based on what you really want your money to do and for your kids, for whatever's left over. Things like that.
Yeah, and it's all interconnected. And sometimes when people are trying to do estate planning, they think, well, it's my stuff. I know how to get it over to my family. We don't need all of these big, huge documents. I don't need a trust and so forth. And my kids, my adult children, they'll figure it out. But come on, folks. Every time I've done this in a live room, and I'm sure the same as Dale, and I say, have your kids ever argued? Okay.
No, never.
Never, right?
Oh, no.
Well, when you start getting investments and money and things involved in all that, sometimes the deepest, darkest stuff comes out from everybody's closets. And by talking about estate planning, by putting your wishes into writing in the way that you want things to be done, not only does it help keep your family together, but it also helps keep Uncle Sam sometimes out of the pockets of those accounts, taking their chunk from it. If you haven't had an estate planning conversation and you don't want to sit down and put down a retainer to go talk with a lawyer, call the phone number. Part of being a financial advisor, this is what Dale does as well, making sure that what you've created stays and goes where you want it to. Call 833-856-1382. Folks are standing by. They'll schedule an appointment over the phone, over Zoom, or in person, whatever you prefer. 833-856-1382 is the phone number. More with Dale Soutas and Retire Your Way right after this.
How do you know if you're retirement ready? That's a question many people ask themselves as they approach their golden years. We believe the answer can be complex and depends on many factors, such as your savings, monthly expenses, and lifestyle goals. At Soutas Financial, we can help you determine if you're retirement ready. We'll work with you to assess your financial situation, identify any potential income gaps, and develop a customized plan that aligns with your goals. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Call us today to learn how we can help you work towards achieving financial security and peace of mind in retirement. Call Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial for your complimentary retirement readiness review. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Call Dale Soutas and Soutas Financial and Insurance Solutions right now to receive your complimentary tax map with your retirement readiness review. Learn multiple strategies that could protect you from higher taxes now and in the future. Taxes are a threat to your financial stability in retirement, so help protect yourself from the potential threat of rising taxes. Call Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial to receive your complimentary tax map and retirement readiness review. 833-856-1382. Their team will help you navigate the financial waters to pursue your retirement goals. They offer inclusive retirement services such as investment directives for your portfolio, income-producing strategies, and wealth preservation plans for your family and legacy. Call Dale Soutas and the team of Soutas Financial and Insurance Solutions, 833-856-1382 right now for your retirement readiness review, and also receive your complimentary tax map. Strategies to help you keep more of what you've saved in retirement. Or write us at the email address dale@soutas.com.
Retire your way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
This is Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. Once again, the phone number for your absolutely no-cost portfolio, your investment risk cost review, and your income plan is absolutely no cost to you. 833-856-1382 is the phone number. Call it. We have folks who are standing by. You're not going to interrupt the program. We're not going to air your dirty laundry. We do this in private, but we can do it over phone, over Zoom, or in person in the offices if you want to, right here in California. Dale, recently you had what we like to call is a few of the youngsters come in. A couple of youngsters.
Yeah.
A couple of different groups in their 50s, and we love this. We really, really do encourage this. Retirement planning isn't just waiting for the month or 6 months or a year beforehand going, hey, how am I doing? Hey, we like to help you out along the way. There's a lot of different things we can do because it's hard to go back 15 years and change what your elections were and your investments were and your saving amounts.
Strategies.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
And as I've been in the industry with you folks now for a long time, just hosting this always has been one of my biggest concerns because I've also seen it in my own family. Individual business owners. You know, you probably start getting that itch around your 50s. You were a worker in your 20s. You were turning into a career person in your 30s. You were turning maybe into an executive or C-level person in your 40s. And then your 50s, you're thinking to yourself, I can do this on my own better. So you open your own business, right?
Could be 40s or 50s, exactly. And they do. I've had, like you said, I've even had ones younger than, in the 50s, like I'm thinking of a couple of them recently, but that are in their mid-50s. I've had ones in their early 40s, asking for some coaching, and that's fine too. But the one I'm thinking of who is self-employed and set up S-Corp like I have for my business, we have the same mentality. A lot of times you get self-employed and you're making this money, but you're doing all you can to show as little as you can to Uncle Sam because everything's business related and you're writing it all off, let's say. The danger there is now how are you going to save for down the road? Because he's realizing the one I was talking to is, hey, I can save maybe even up to $100,000 a year for my future. And I'm saying, well, that's great. It's not so much necessarily how much you could
Yeah.
save. It's how you save it.
Yeah,
What
'cause
tools?
and I'll stop you there because just saying, hey, I don't care if you can sock away 50,000, 100,000. Look, and hopefully he's a savvy person, but just even putting that in savings accounts or money markets at a 3% or a 4%, that's very, very different than you putting your incremental amount into investments, funds over time that are also getting growth. So I agree with you there, Dale. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. But yeah, you could sock away a lot of money. Saving, having that on the sidelines isn't the same thing as growing.
Yeah, and let's say he's just putting it into a brokerage account and he's managing it or having somebody manage it, and that thing's really rocking and rolling and making money. But if it's structured as a traditional just a investment, then he's paying taxes on that growth along the way. So he's not maximizing the growth necessarily. So the other thing I look at is they're young. Tax rates will likely be a lot higher 10, 20 years from now than what they are today. So I don't really encourage them to use their traditional SEP IRAs. I would rather them use a SEP Roth IRA, if that's the proper way, but Roth, using tax-free vehicles. So put after-tax money in, let it grow. As it grows, you don't pay any taxes on the growth. And later on, you could take all of that money tax-free, even the growth. You don't pay taxes on it. So options. I did some homework for that particular family with his business and in mind, and ended up, some of the things he could do is a Roth SEP IRA, which means he could put up to 25% of his income, up to $70,000 a year into that. Let's say he wants to put more, then he might need to set up a 401k, which also means he may have to, be contributing, helping his employees contribute. He can also do a Roth defined benefit plan, which is more like a private pension plan, but there's a variety of things where he could put higher than the 70, higher than the 8,000 a year that you could traditionally put in if you're 50 and above into an IRA, Roth IRA. But the problem with it, as I was realizing, as I was doing my homework, I said, okay, he's not showing Uncle Sam much income. And if you're showing very little income, 25% of nothing is, 25%, that's a lot of nothing.
Mm-hmm. Because you need to put earned income into retirement kinds of savings. So if he's setting up his own retirement savings account, a SEP IRA, SEP Roth IRA, whatever it might be, he has to have earned income. But most business owners try to show as much loss as possible, so they get the deductions, correct?
Right. And then...
or a lot do.
Yeah.
I'll say a lot do.
Yeah. I mean, the goal, who wants to pay extra taxes if you don't have to? But, a lot of times that's a perk to one's having their own business. And I know even as an S Corp, there have been times my CPA had me at very, it was like I'm on the payroll, which is nice because then I'm contributing into Social Security. And 1 year he had me kind of low, and I thought, well, wait a minute, that's not going to help me down the road. So, I want to show a little higher to build up my Social Security as well. And this particular case with this one's business, he needs to be able to be on the payroll, which is he's going to be starting to really function as an S Corp next year. So that's what we're gearing up for. How do you do that? How do you contribute? Not only have income so you can, put some in towards Social Security, but also what are other options? And if you show no income, you have nothing you could put into a Roth SEP, a Roth 401k or defined benefit plan. So you're kind of making it difficult. But even if you do again, there are other tools too to do tax-free retirement income. And people don't realize they can also use properly structured life insurance, and they can fund
Explain.
those.
What do you mean? Okay, what do you mean by properly structured life insurance to save for your retirement as a business owner?
A business owner, or even, if you're wealthy, making millions a year, what do they use? They use these life insurance policies. They're not trying to get a big death benefit. They're trying to get the least amount of cost or death benefit, but maximize what they put into it. People hear of things like IULs. Those are indexed universal life policies. So instead of a fixed rate of 4, 5, 6%, you can actually, make sometimes double digits or better. Well, double digits would be good with these.
You say double digits or better? Like what? Triple digits? That would be wonderful.
Well, you mean good? You mean
decent double digits?
Yeah, decent returns with a lot of these, but the properly structured part is where your max funding. You're not just paying a minimum premium to get this big death benefit. If you need a big death benefit.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you for me right here. So when you say max funding and not just waiting for can you talk to me in some dollars and cents? What do you mean? Can you give me, what do you mean by not the largest death benefit, but then max funding? Is that overfunding? What are we talking about in, I guess, monthly or annual payments? Can you give us a ballpark?
Good question. In a nutshell, on life insurance, you have term and you have whole life and you have universal life. Term is like renting. Whole life is like buying. Universal life takes the best of both worlds. You're buying a home versus renting the same home, same neighborhood. Your cost to buy that monthly payment is going to be naturally higher, but eventually you stop paying for it and it has equity. It grows in value. When you rent that same home, the rent goes up over the years. With the universal life policies, when you put more than the minimum just to have that death benefit, that money can grow inside the pot, so to speak, and eventually that money is going to get higher and higher. Let's say you have, in this example, $500,000 death benefit and you're max funding it, whatever it is, $10,000 a year. Down the road, that money in the pot may get up to $400,000 in value, $450,000 in value. Now you're only paying for $50,000 or $100,000 of life insurance. So the cost is shrinking and the money can grow even more. And with properly structured life insurance, you can borrow from these to create tax-free income or tax-free withdrawals. And let's say down the road you take $10,000 out and spend it out of that life policy. The ones with fully participating loans, you take that money out, you spend it, but it's as if the money's still in the pot. And if it earns 6% and they're charging you 4%, loan, you still made 2% on the money you took out and spent. In other words, they're charging you 4% on that $10,000, but it made 6.
Okay, Dale, before everybody's eyes keep crossing while they're out there on the roads right now trying to figure out all this math, we'll figure out the math for you. Come on into the office. What Dale is talking about here are some higher level strategies. It's great if you're a business owner. You're focusing on building that up. You're acquiring accounts. You're servicing your people, your clients. You're taking care of your family, even saving for yourself. But then creating strategies for yourself in retirement is a whole different ball game. So if you are a business owner out there wondering if you're saving enough for yourself, or a private contractor, things like real estate agents, we want to make sure that everybody has a retirement plan. And we know that cash flow is king, especially as an independent contractor and business owner. So let's make sure you got a plan that you are comfortable with, no matter what the markets and the economy do. Call 833-856-1382 so you can sit down with Dale Soutas, financial advisor right here in California, at no cost to you. More with Dale Soutas right after this.
Are you worried about taxes eating into your retirement savings? By engaging in savvy tax planning, you might be able to create greater tax efficiency in your retirement plan. At Soutas Financial, our team of retirement planning specialists can help you explore tax-deferred and tax-free investment options, as well as strategies to help potentially minimize your tax burden in retirement. Don't let taxes derail your retirement plans. Let us help you create a tax-efficient financial plan and work towards maximizing your savings and minimizing your taxes. Call Dale Soutas of Retire Your Way and the team at Soutas Financial today to learn more about our tax planning solutions. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Will I run out of money in retirement? That's a hard question to answer if you've never been retired. How do you grow your investments without taking too much risk, but also considering what you'll pay in taxes? Should you convert your tax-deferred accounts into Roth accounts for tax-free growth later? Don't forget about inflation. Instead of questions about your retirement, turn to answers and solutions from Dale Soutas and Soutas Financial. Call and ask for your own complimentary retirement solution review. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382 for your complimentary retirement solution review.
To get your complimentary Retire Your Way review, call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
This is Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas. He's the founder of Soutas Financial, independent financial advisor, fiduciary financial advisor, helping you be and stay retired, California. This is a very common situation. You get to your 50s, you start to open up your own business. Maybe he's had it for a long time. I didn't know him. But how are we saving for retirement is the key here. And if you're just piling into, your investment accounts, your own private brokerages, you've got tax consequences to all of that. And what you tried to shine a light on for him was what exactly, Dale, about his savings?
Well, he has to, if he's going to be saving, because he's realizing, he's been doing great and making money, but if he's going to save for the future, do it properly. I mean, keep Uncle Sam out of that money as best as possible. But to do so, you might have to show Uncle Sam you're making money, because you can't necessarily put money into those Roth type vehicles.
Unless you have something. You've got, for any sort of your retirement savings, whether you're going to pay the taxes on the way in, a Roth, or if you're going to try to create your own individual 401k tax deferred, you got to show earned income. And I know, the bottom line of trying to show that your business, had expenses and so forth. But if you don't have any earned income in it, you don't have earned income that you can save.
But sometimes, let's say businesses are owned by multiple people. So then we can do the life insurance vehicles for the business, which helps, expenses for the business too. But it's more of a protect the other. Like if you have two people, you and I are the business partners, and you die. Am I going to be wanting to work with your spouse? Maybe, maybe not. So by having life insurance on you, that comes to the business for me to buy your spouse out. And then we run the business.
Okay. Now,
there's some fancy stuff that way, but the point being with this one was
I actually was thinking
better.
that when you were saying getting life insurance on each other's, business partners like that you were going to use it maybe as a salary or an incentive to go and find somebody else, who has the kind of experience, because this happens a lot. This happened with a friend of mine recently. He had 3 different business partners, and something happened to the spouse of one of them, and unfortunately passed away about 6 months later. And, it was, the spouse wasn't so much of an engineer in what their industry was, and the other 2 partners, they were kind of floating dead in the water for a little while, no pun intended, because they didn't know what to do with the business. The other guy was a lot more technical. So is it financial services? Is it something where you're building? Is it, a specialty, something that you only know about? Is the spouse going to just step in and take over that career? But having life insurance on key persons to be able to pay someone like that and say, thank you so much for spouse. I'm sure you don't want to run our business. Or maybe they do.
It just helps to continue the business in a proper manner. But, it was interesting because not everybody has their own business. Most people are employed, right?
Yes, you said you had a couple of young kids recently. You had another 50-year-old come in recently.
Well, it was actually the same day, a little later in the day, that somebody came in and she was talking about, her plan for the future and concerned that, am I doing it right? And I gathered the info. Of course, like always, people might come in with a stack of statements and stuff about their income and Social Security, pensions, whatever it's projected to be. And I actually have them push that aside and say, well, first of all, what do you want retirement to look like? What are you going to be doing? That's more important, because it's like we've said before, if you're going to have a house built for your dream house, or you're going to do a modification to your own house, to upgrade a room or a section of your house, you call in somebody, a contractor, and you tell them what you want it to look like. That's what I do with people. I like to find out, well, so what is retirement, what's it going to be like for you? What do you really want to be doing or doing more of in retirement? And once I know that, and we start building on, okay, what's it going to cost to do all that? And then we start looking at, well, what lumber do you have? What are the accounts? What's the future income to be able to do all that? But anyway, with her, it was great. And I basically said some of the homework is check with your employer. Do they offer because she was using a traditional 401k, throwing in money, lowering her income today. Do they offer a Roth 401k? And the income she's at wasn't such that she really needed to defer the income or lower her income taxes today because, tax rates will be higher. She's saving tax at a low tax rate today to pay taxes on the money and the growth of that money at a higher rate down the road. So, just a little bit of homework like that to help her know how to save better. And for both of them, free of charge, we shared the Power of Zero movie. We said, this is a must. This is homework you need to see. It's free financial education. And I really recommend younger ones seeing that movie. If you have kids, grandkids, it's a must for them to know how to save for their future and keep Uncle Sam and Uncle Newsom out of their retirement savings, right? As I like to call it. So there's some it's very informative. I think it's only 75 minutes. So it's not even an hour and a half.
And you have a clip on it on the website, correct?
Yeah, there's a trailer for that on the website. Just look at the movies. It's Power of Zero. For older ones, for how to structure things so their money will last, their income will last, the Baby Boomer movie is excellent too. And that 2-minute trailer is on the website as well. But we try to help people get up to speed, understand sometimes the lingo, and just be educated financially, because that's not something most of us were taught in school or anything like that.
Yeah, and sure, you can let the internet do the walking for you. You can go out and do the research, and I try to do this all the time. I've been, I had a really frustrating couple of days trying to learn different AIs and trying to work with them and getting 2 and 3 and 4 hours in and still getting terrible results and realizing that I'm the problem. But you don't have to learn all of these things on your own. I
could have told you that.
You've got your work day, you've got your family, you deserve to relax. You can have somebody lead you through the financial education. These 2 movies that Dale is talking about, we can get you the access to them. Go take a look at a couple of the clips that are on his website at Soutas.com, Soutas.com. And if you'd like to see one of those movies, we can give you the access. Write Dale at Soutas.com. That's Dale with the @ symbol. Soutas.com, Soutas.com, especially the Power of Zero. And I think the zero that you're talking about is we're trying to get to what? Zero in tax brackets? Zero taxability?
Zero taxes on retirement savings.
All right. But and I'm so glad. And this message we really want all for the state of California. If you're in your 50s, you are welcome to call the phone number. We like to help people, especially early on in the planning process, because as Dale teams grow here, they're going to be the ones who continue to work with you over the next 20 and 30 and 40 years. But how are you saving to get yourself to retirement? That's incredibly important. If you're in your 60s, it's very, very important to call the phone number and set up your appointment. We've got 5, 6, maybe 7 years, depending on your working years, on what you want to do, of being able to save and position things. And then if you're in your mid-60s, early 70s, if you've already retired, if you want to make sure that you've got income that is going to work for you, you should also call the phone number. 833-856-1382 is that number. That's 833-856-1382. I love that you're talking to somebody in their 50s saying, take a look at Roth 401ks. While you were discussing that, I looked because I wasn't sure. So I know that there's legislation that has allowed for 401k providers and also to be offering Roth 401ks.
Correct.
But it's not a legal requirement that if you are a 401k provider company that you have to have a Roth 401k option. I thought there was something about legislation that's saying, look, if you're going to offer one, pretty soon you have to offer the other. So your company might not. But for those of you who are in your 50s, it is a great thing to take advantage of. How about, Dale, if you're in your 60s? If you're just hearing this right now, because Roths didn't really come out until about 1997.
Yeah, what if they're in their early 60s and they plan to work through age 70? Well, maybe we still implement some Roth strategies. Or sometimes I see people, they have the companies do offer a Roth, but they only match what you put into your traditional. So you have the right, get that free money into your traditional, and you have the right with most of those accounts to convert that traditional to Roth. Maybe do it the next year. So you'll pay tax on it, but you now have that money growing tax-free. Or what if you're a high wage earner and it doesn't make sense right now to put after-tax money into those accounts? You do need to defer, because once you retire, your income and needs will be a lot lower. So there's, again, too many variables to look at to say everybody should be doing it this way or that way.
Oh, okay.
It's just
Fair enough.
And you could even be in your 40s or whatever. It doesn't matter 20s. I don't care. How do you save better for your future? That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line right there from your financial advisor, Dale Soutas. Folks, call the phone number. We've got all different kinds of tools, all different kinds of education. If you go to the website, you can see when live events are coming up next, so you can go and see Dale. You can ask your questions in person. You can come into the office, or you can just have a phone call. And it all starts with this set of numbers, 833-856-1382. Call that right now. Set up your appointment, or you can go and learn more about Dale and schedule your own appointment right there at Soutas.com, Soutas.com. For Dale Soutas, I'm Spike. Both he and I will be back again next week. As a valued radio listener of Retire Your Way, Dale and his entire team of retirement professionals invite you to schedule your very own complimentary retirement plan review session. 833-856-1382 is the number for you to call. If you don't have a retirement strategy mapped out that includes low-fee investment elections, tax minimization strategies, decumulation plans that will last as long as you need them to, then call for your very own retirement review session, complimentary for our valued radio listeners. Are you able to lower your taxes in retirement? Are you unclear about your Social Security, Medicare, investment fees and risk, or how to produce guaranteed lifetime income so your lifestyle and goals don't have to be changed with the ups and downs of the market or taxes? Call Dale Soutas with Soutas Financial and be confident you can retire your way. Schedule your own comprehensive and complimentary retirement review session. Don't just live in retirement, thrive. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, Foundations, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Any discussions of specific strategies are for informational purposes only and have been provided to help determine whether they may be appropriate for your specific situation. If applicable, the primary goal is converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. Each individual investor's situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Comments regarding a particular client's experience may or may not be the same as another client's experience and is not an indication that any client or prospective client will experience the same or a higher level of future success or performance. Foundations only transacts business in those jurisdictions where it's properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. Nothing herein constitutes a recommendation that any security, portfolio, or securities or investment strategy is suitable for any specific person. No legal or tax advice is provided. Please review your retirement, tax, and estate legacy planning strategies with a legal tax professional before transacting or implementing any strategies discussed herein. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not in any way refer to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing insurance company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. This is not endorsed or affiliated with the Social Security Administration, any federal Medicare program, nor any U.S. government agency. If applicable, we do not offer every plan available in your area, and contacting us at the phone numbers provided herein will direct you to a licensed insurance agent. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all your options. All rights reserved.